and the SEC has recently ramped up its enforcement activities, suing two of the biggest names in the cryptocurrency market. In this video, I'll discuss those two individuals and whether or not I believe they are correct. I actually believe they have a case in one of them, but I believe they are utterly out of place in the other. In this video, we'll discuss both of these recent cases. I'll also show you some recent videos from John Deaton that analyze the present state of the Ripple SEC case. Be sure to see them all because you won't want to miss them. For those of you who regularly watch this channel, you already know that I just called out Justin Sun, the founder of Tron, for essentially suggesting that he intended to acquire Credit Suisse. And I was just stating that this strikes me as a terribly foolish, immature action. Nothing about it makes sense. There is no chance he will ever be able to purchase Credit Suisse. And even if he did, what is he going to do to force all the depositors to start utilizing the Tron token? Simply put, it didn't make sense. Funny enough, the SEC has already filed a claim against Tron. Now I feel sorry for everyone with a copy of Tron. Frankly, I'm not a huge admirer of Justin Sun. He simply strikes me as being reckless and a bit of a wild card. He is not someone I would want leading my cryptocurrency project. Today, the SEC is essentially targeting Justin Sun and Tron for a number of different reasons. And this is actually quite detrimental. I didn't really notice this when I initially read this. However, the SEC is pursuing Justin Sun not just for promoting Tron and paying influencers, but they are also alleging that Justin Sun engaged in market manipulation to support Tron's price and attempt to increase its value, which is essentially fraud. Well, I'm not sure if this is accurate. But this is a really grave accusation. This is more than a simple warning. This is directly targeting Justin Sun. We'll have to wait and watch how this develops. I realize I say that frequently. I won't jump to the conclusion that he was doing this, though. It's a fairly powerful charge. One thing I want to make clear, though, is that I can fully see this man doing something similar based on what I was saying earlier and based on some of the idiotic remarks he has made in the past about how he wants to purchase Credit Suisse and can accomplish it. I expected exactly this to happen. The other day, I really likened him to Do Kwon because he reminds me of someone who has him in their way. They both have such arrogance. They both appear to be young men with a lot of money and power behind them, and they act as though nothing can stop them from achieving their goals. And this is precisely how you fall. You go out and say a lot of stupid things, and you pay influencers to spread the word about your coin. You immediately come under the scrutiny of the regulatory authorities. Oh, it's no big issue, you say. I'll take them on. I have a ton of cash. But to be clear, someone like Justin Sun from Tron won't be the one to defeat the SEC. Simply put, in my opinion, he made a pretty bad decision by doing this. Look, he made a ton of money with his cryptocurrency endeavor, but I have no idea if it was worthwhile. Yet you don't go around calling attention to regulators by uttering all of this. I simply believe that what he was doing was a pretty stupid decision on his part. We'll watch how this develops. I don't want him to be charged, obviously. If he genuinely wasn't doing anything wrong, chances are he was doing something wrong. In either scenario, I believe the SEC will likely prevail in this case, which is disappointing. And this is just a perfect illustration of how those operating in the Bitcoin sector who are not adults harm the sector as a whole. The SEC will have more authority to pursue other projects since we have this guy who might force Tron to become a security. But in all honesty, a lot of us in the crypto community weren't even in favor of what he was doing. Even the notion that he was not a fraudster was not universally accepted. However, I simply wanted to make this observation. Although I don't currently have a lot of information on this case, I wanted to bring it to your attention because it will likely be significant in the future. I want to talk about the much larger situation now that I have moved on. Moreover, Coinbase now has a Wells. Now take note of when Ripple received or at least made public their Wells notice. In the weeks that followed, we effectively saw a case be resolved. I therefore believe that there is a very significant likelihood that Coinbase will be sued by the SEC. Considering that the SEC is primarily concentrating on Coinbase's staking product, I want to quickly explain what Coinbase is being sued for. I explained the SEC's lawsuit against Kraken a month ago and compared it to a Coinbase's product while doing so. And this is crucial since I am unsure of the validity of the SEC's allegations against Coinbase. In essence, Kraken conceded they had no legal security after the SEC sued them. Actually, they didn't actually confess it, to be honest. They didn't confirm or deny, but they reportedly have security, in my opinion. Kraken had a security in their staking product because they were deceiving consumers into thinking they were staking their tokens while actually lending them out to increase yield in an effort to please customers. Now, the reason this was a concern issue was because the corporation was taking steps to increase yield rather than merely rewarding consumers and the network. We are depending on Kraken to produce the yield since investors are putting money into that product. That, and what Coinbase does vary in that Coinbase exclusively distributes network incentives to its users. Coinbase is essentially saying, hey, we're just taking their cryptocurrency for them. Then we either give them the yield from the decentralized network, as we are not producing a yield and investors are investing in us to do so, or we give them the cryptocurrency. As a result, these goods were configured rather differently, as you can see. And as a result, it will make for a very compelling legal argument. Now, if Coinbase is just accepting user assets, staking them for the users, and then the users are receiving those rewards, then in my opinion, Coinbase is acting legally in this situation. Users rely on Coinbase to provide them with the income. They don't truly depend on Coinbase to create the yield. The question of whether Coinbase contributed to the profit now raises an intriguing dilemma. But that's not how I actually perceive it. I honestly believe the SEC was too lazy to pursue cryptocurrencies for its direct network staking case because they knew it would fail. Hence, the SEC attempted to target Coinbase as a fast track. Now, a lot of this will depend on the judge they are assigned. And in the rippling SEC case, this is one of the things I have been emphasizing as being crucial. Coinbase will be in trouble if they do not obtain a judge who is interested in determining how what Kraken did and what Coinbase is doing vary from one another. You need a judge who's going to be willing to grasp that staking benefits from a network are a lot different than a firm providing that yield on the back end. Now, some Bitcoin naysayers, like many judges, might not be willing to comprehend this distinction. Hence, in my opinion, this will